the Smite World Championships, teams from around the world will be representing the best of the very best in Smite esports. These teams won't just be competing for the prize money, but for the beautiful Smite World Championship trophy and title of the best Smite team in the world. Everything you see right now is because of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who's ready for some Smite?
Well, I'm ready for some Smite. Thanks, Kelly. We're here at the desk today, starting off things right with week number 9 here in the SPL. We've got 2 more weeks, and this is where we're going to start it off. My name, of course, is F. Joined here by Kevin Adonis Meyer.
How did I know you're going to come off that video with I'm ready for some Smite? I just knew it. I'm like, F. is going to say it. I think because I was thinking it was like, all right, if I was bringing this in, I'd be like, all right, I'm ready for some Smite. Let's go.
I mean, it's just Kelly. She like, yeah,
she killed it hosting last year. Only a couple more months before the SWC. You know, I was talking with Hindu Man earlier. We're in the final 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the last stretch for these teams to qualify for Super Regionals, and eventually we're going to make it to Worlds.
Yeah, it's all just part of the process, and you could take a look, and you could buy tickets right now if you want to join us at swc.smitegame.com. As we said, Super Regionals comes first. That's what we're in the regular season for, but it all comes down. I mean, this is really what all these teams have been playing, practicing, and vying for here. It's all about the Smite World Championship. Over $1 million going towards that, and of course, it's all part of the regular season. Let's take a look at the standings for Europe to see how these teams are starting off and where they'll land.
Secured first seed for Epsilon Esports going into the Super Regionals. Paradigm and Fnatic still looking for that second seed. They're going to be facing off later this week. Actually, the match of the week, we'll go into more details about that later. We're going to be seeing Titan versus London Conspiracy today, both sitting at 10 and 12. So, unlikely that they catch Fnatic, but both trying to put some distance between themselves and Dignitas to be in that 4th or 5th spot.
Yeah, it's really about that. It's really about that middle of the pack situation. Both 4th and 5th are going to be on the side that have to deal with Epsilon, but 4th will, of course, deal with Epsilon right away.
Here's the thing for me, though.
What?
Because, you know, there's a lot of people who are like, okay, I kind of want to be 4th or 5th, or I want to be 6th. You know, I don't want to be 4 or 5. But it's actually incredibly important to get past that first round at the Super Regionals, because if you can make it into the semifinals, then you're guaranteed at least a shot for 3rd place and a shot for the wild card. If you get eliminated because you have to face Paradigm or Fnatic in the first round, it's over for you.
Right.
You are done. You cannot make Worlds. So getting that first round win, even though if you have to go against Epsilon, it gives you a second chance at the 3rd place wild card.
Exactly. And talking about 3rd place over in North America, we've got a couple of those teams fighting for that position this Sunday. If we take a look at the match of the week, it's going to be an exciting situation here as Cloud9 takes on their opponent.
Look at Cloud9 there.
Oh, wow. It's going to be Fnatic versus Paradigm.
No, there are a lot of exciting matches. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, this is – so I know why, because it was actually kind of a date between which one we were going to do, but it is going to be Fnatic Paradigm, most notably because these are the 2 teams facing off for that 2nd spot to get the automatic bye through the first round.
Yeah, it's going to be Sunday, October 18th. That, of course, is this upcoming Sunday at 1 p.m. You can watch Paradigm versus Fnatic, a European matchup of the Titans. And this is actually exciting because not only do you have a situation where these 2 teams are going to be fighting over a spot on the bracket as far as their standings are concerned, it's also just damn good Smite. It's going to be Paradigm and Fnatic, 2 of the better teams out in Europe, and you can never really count these guys out.
Yeah, some of the best players in the world. And, you know, let's take a look actually at the best players in the world with Alpha Draft. You can actually sign up, put, you know, your money, your chance to win some real money by competing against others in Smite Fantasy. So it's a really cool site. Make sure to get your picks locked in 24 hours in advance, so you're not going to be able to lock it in for today, but for tomorrow and for the rest of the week, you can get your team in place.
It's an awesome site. If you're killing it in the FP department, if you're doing it well by week here on the season ticket, you might as well turn up at alphadraft.com and go ahead and put your real money in there and see if you can earn some real bucks out of your own esports knowledge. So definitely an interesting situation. As far as interesting situations, let's go to the moon. Nuwa, the latest addition to the Odyssey package, the 3rd item coming out. There she is in all her glory. Odyssey update. It's the new Horizons.
Not new Nuwa. We did that. We already did the new Nuwa already.
I like the NU, like new metal almost.
I got you.
But so as last year's Odyssey, basically what happened was as you went ahead and purchased more and more items, we'd give you bonus items. Same thing this year. If you purchase all 3 items, you get the Kukulkan skin, the Nuwa skin, and the second item, then we'll just give you the We Are the Ward skin. It's actually interesting. It cycles through all the pantheons.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it yet. I was like, what is this? I haven't looked into it yet. But that's actually really cool.
Yeah. So if you watched Esports Weekly Live, which airs every Wednesday at 4:00, you got the chance to see Hindu Man in his sort of the Norse.
The Norse.
Yeah, the Norse one. It's that symbol rotating with all the other pantheons. Just very fast, like a slot machine almost.
Yeah. As well as the next Odyssey item was actually spoiled on patch notes. So it's a lot of exciting and cool content coming out for that one.
Yeah, so you get a chance to go ahead and purchase that skin, and after you purchase it, you should play. This weekend, we've got a promotion going on in-game for you to win extra stats.
Do we really name it squad goals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that one, but
we're okay. I mean, hashtag squad goals, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, so basically the gist of it, hashtag squad goals. If you guys want to team up with your friends, you'll go ahead and earn double the favor, as well as worshippers and experience. So everything lining up to go ahead and earn you some extra points, as well as fantasy points. So if your picks aren't too hot, well, that means you're not tuning into Esports Weekly or you're listening to Adonis's picks. But you can fix those this weekend by squad goaling up this weekend and go ahead and team up.
Another thing going on this weekend, guys, is MLG New Orleans, where the Xbox teams are fighting to compete to make it to their pro league. Eventually, we're going to find a team from MLG to make it to the Xbox World. You can actually find more information about that on esports.smartgame.com.
It's really fun. I really like watching those guys play. It's very easy to sit here from a PC perspective and say, oh, it's just Xbox or whatnot. But if you get a chance to watch some of the tournaments that go on and see the top end players, it's very good stuff. So again, make sure you tune into that tournament this weekend. It's going to be a LAN in New Orleans, esports.smartgame.com for all of the information following that. So you guys can check out some of the bigger name teams that you might even recognize. We've got some Epsilon, some Paradigm, some Eagers. So it should be familiar names all across the board. Definitely something to take a look at. But that's Xbox. Let's tune into PC today. As we said, Titan versus London Conspiracy is going to be our matchup here. Two teams right in the middle of the pack. Even situation, they're going to be fighting against each other to see who comes off with 2 wins. Yeah,
both sitting at 10-10. Let's take a look at Titan real quick. Their new solo laner, BroTuZ, filling in now. Ataraxia has since moved back to the hunter role with Confrey's expulsion from the team. And so far, he's had some okay games. But Titan as a whole, really struggling. They're tied with London Conspiracy. This has typically been the team that's been in the top 4 for Europe for all of Season 2. However, they actually haven't taken a clean set off of any top team. They haven't 2-0'd Epsilon, Fnatic, or Paradigm outside of the one time that iRapper was banned back in the summer split, and so they kind of faced, an injured Epsilon, I would say.
The biggest takeaway I get from that graphic, BroTuZ and KanyeLife look like they could be brothers.
I thought it was BroTuZ and Ataraxia.
I mean, honestly, all of Titan wind up looking
outside of like PrettyPriMe when he has the hair, but like if he cuts it, then he could probably fit in too.
Which, by the way, PrettyPriMe, your hair grows. So every LAN he tends to cut off his giant. He's got this big hair. He cuts it off. It just grows so fast. And speaking of growing fast, London Conspiracy has really grown this split. Gone from sort of a lower end team to a perfect middle of the pack squad. Here they are again. We saw Titan replace one of their members with BroTuZ. Here, ASoggySandal takes a backseat. Cherio going to be the new jungler, now confirmed. For a while, he was just substituting in. Now, he's going to be the permanent jungler for London Conspiracy.
So the last time these teams faced, they went 1-1, but also more importantly, that was the Bluestone and the anti-healing patch. We saw Mail of Renewal come out. We saw Bluestone come out, as well as that Weakening Curse taking a huge nerf to only 65% instead of 100%. And Titan ran, I don't want to say cheese strat, but a very inventive strategy, something that isn't normal. That isn't in the norm.
They put Guan and Sun Wukong in the same lane,
and then Guan and Thor, and Titan actually did very well with it. So London Conspiracy the last time these teams faced, they traded off 1-1 and also had to deal and adapt to a new style that Titan had brought to the game.
Yeah, London Conspiracy, that's generally where we've seen them succeed. Is you'll take a look, if you ever take a look at their match history, they wind up winning game 2s a lot of the time. This team can really adapt, and once you sort of show your hand, they're really able to deal with what you've got and see what's going on there. As far as this conversation goes for this game specifically, though, it's very interesting. Titan has been on a downswing. That's really no secret to anybody at home. And I think that fans and a lot of people have sort of given them the benefit of the doubt based on name power. I mean, they're the the number 2 team out of Worlds, and they haven't been performing like that. But people tend to give them the benefit of the doubt. Where I think London Conspiracy, on the other hand, sort of suffers just the opposite. LC hasn't been given a lot of the credit that they're due, maybe because of a lack of name power. So going into it, these teams, a lot of people sort of lean towards Titan, but at the end of the day, I think these 2 teams are perfectly matched up.
Well, for me, I took a split. Let's find out who's going to come out on top, though. It's game 1, Titan taking on London Conspiracy. I'm looking to the jungle, I think. Cheerio for me, filling into this roster quite nicely for the past couple weeks. Originally, it was actually just a sub. ASoggySandal had some connection issues, couldn't get online. And since then, I'm assuming it's London Conspiracy has felt more comfortable with him in the jungle, Cheerio, that is, over Soggy.
I mean, London Conspiracy, Cheerio, showed up ready to play multiple gods, and just performed extremely well. If you tuned in for the first time couple of weeks ago when Cheerio was subbing in for London Conspiracy, I don't think anybody could have told you that he was a sub and you would have believed them. He came out ready to play, and it's interesting. He was actually the substitute at the time is who we went to for the post-game interview. And he was, and we asked him a question. He was just so, yes, of course I was ready to play. That's what I'm on the team to do. So it's very exciting to see him join the ranks of LC and do well.
First pick coming through, it's going to be Serqet. I was actually going to mention that was basically the other top pick that wasn't banned out. Typically, we're seeing the Giannis, the Serqet, the Wukong, and the Khepri. That's left open, going to repikas in the jungle. London Conspiracy looking to respond. Are they going to look for the hell pick? It's a little bit dangerous, really, picking it into that Serqet, but we have seen both London Conspiracy and Titan like these healer utility gods.
The Neith coming out on the Neith and Geb, very safe lane for Shaggyshenk and EmilZy on London Conspiracy. Neith, of course, has some ambiguity, but London Conspiracy has traditionally just played Neith in the long lane. This is a safe lane for their long lane, which I like. Shaggyshenk tends to excel later on once he sort of gets online.
What I want here for London Conspiracy is they could actually look to draft a support-style solo laner in Hell, or I would say Aphrodite. We know Zashu has a pretty good Aphrodite here as Ares Hu Yi locked in. A lot of kill potential on Titan.
Yes.
A lot of single target pick potential on Titan.
And what I like the most about here for Titan is that Ataraxia recently switched back to the Hunter role after an extended vacation over in the solo lane. Brand new jungler. And PrettyPriMe hasn't exactly been doing poorly, but I mean hasn't done anything crazy exciting. On the other side of the coin, though, I think that KanyeLife and repikas have been extremely consistent, and by picking high damage, high potential characters for those 2 players, I think it's a very smart decision out of Titan.
Nox locked in for London Conspiracy, starting to see a lot more rise since the cripple was added to her Shadow Lock. This is going to be an interesting game. I don't think all these teams are very consistent in playing against Noxes. They probably haven't got a lot of practice, but Nox does very well against Serqet. Not only does she have the silence on the Siphon Darkness, but Shadowlock also has a cripple on it now. That's a lot of power against Serqet. That's one thing that Nox is very good at, is locking down any gods that either rely on movement or channeled abilities.
Yeah, so Nox going to be a good joint there. And if you guys watched last week, you saw a couple of players on Thor combined with Nox, specifically adapting on Epsilon. So one of Nox's abilities, her dash, she'll actually dash into a player, which allows Thor to go up with Nox inside of him, come down, and then surprise there's 2 people out of a Thor ultimate. Titan sees that a mile away, bans out Thor. They don't want any part of that. London Conspiracy, they're going to pick up Awilix for their troubles. So immediate synergy with Geb and
This is actually what I was thinking that London Conspiracy should do back in the first phase. Once they drafted that Geb, instead of the Nox, I had the idea that they would pick a Hell or Afro. Instead, they want the Nox and to just ban those gods out. They lock in this Awilix, which combos very well against a Geb. And also, that is really strong pick potential against an Ares, and that's what you want. You really want to lock down Ares early. You don't want them to get rolling, because Ares, once he's behind, he's virtually useless.
Yeah, Geb definitely going to be the one to get rolling. But
Zhong and Bellona locked it for Titan. Tom, really? Get rolling.
I had to give you one to get out of the way. Chaac money picked up for London Conspiracy. Unfortunately, most likely won't find himself in the middle lane, as I would prefer. Most likely Chaac will be in the solo lane. It'll be interesting to see if London Conspiracy, Zashu, if we see the solo lane decide to go power, like Zelia has been very powerfully lately. He's been winning a lot of games off of Red Pot Transcendence Chaac. But really, I want to talk about this Zhong. Zhong pickup for Titan. PrettyPriMe in the middle lane. This is an interesting pick. It's a god that we don't see that much, and more importantly, it's not a lot of mages just do straight damage or they do control. Zhong is a little bit different.
He brings a lot of teamfight potential, and you know he's a big fella. You can actually hear the footsteps as he's stomping around in the jungle there. Zhong is thank you, cameraman. He's very tanky, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but the reason that we're seeing Zhong is that his base stats were increased in the most recent patch we saw.
Right.
He got the Freya treatment, where not only does he have more health at level 1, but also scales higher. He's also been giving magical protection and physical protection and better scaling on those.
Which is important because Zhong role largely, I mean, would you go so far to say that he's almost a bruiser?
Yeah, I mean, he's a magical bruiser. He's just like, he's Cabrakan in that sense where, Cabrakan classified as support, but he's a hybrid damage and tanky god. Same with Zhong, although leans a little bit more towards the damage, less towards the support style.
Yeah, so what you'll look for a lot out of this pick out of PrettyPriMe is really something you're going to look for. As we said, he's more of a bruiser. Don't expect a Agni type of Agni style of play here out of Zhong. Really, he will bring a lot of damage as far as he's got the dot with his card, and then he can suck in the demons. You'll see it right here. That's how he's going to clear the wave, and that will do damage. But largely what you're looking at of the Zhong is the ultimate to really continue fights.
Mid camps here getting started up. Looks like Cherio wants to grab them, but repikas isn't going to get them up for free. And actually, I'm a little bit surprised there. Aero and Cherio, they actually back off, give it up. They don't want to take this level 2 fight against PrettyPriMe and repikas.
Mid lane match.
Look at this rotation, though.
Yeah,
we could actually see a very strong pinch. I love this decision from KanyeLife. Aero's going to get zoned out. He actually does not have his escape, but KanyeLife misses first blood by dropping that chain. That is very uncharacteristic of KanyeLife to miss a chain on Ares.
I like the way Cherio played that. So it's very easy to say, never leave a man behind, always team fight, team, friends. But at level 1, level 2, Cherio doesn't have any tools to help out his mid laner. So just walk away. Titan's gonna focus all their efforts onto the mid laner, and if Aero dies, he dies. Cherio can't help in that regard, so just leave.
Solo lane, BroTuZ getting zoned out for now by Chaac, really controlling the lane, although he does have a decent amount of health potions. This is likely to just be a slap fight for the most part, unless BroTuZ really kind of gets outplayed and gets stuck in the slow from Chaac's Rain Dance, which has been increased. It is now 20% at rank 1 and then 35 at max instead of, I believe it was 25 at max rank or 20. It was not a big slow. Now it's pretty significant.
It got a big change, and it's worth noting that, as I mentioned, Zelia on Paradigm really brought Chaac sort of back. We see a lot of damage in the
nice chain.
Yeah, well, that one wasn't, but enough chain to really stop the aggression onto his Hunter.
He just wanted to hit that cripple. You could see Ataraxia taking a lot of poke. The wave was controlled by Shaggyshenk and London Conspiracy, and if he took a little bit more damage, he would have likely had him enforced back because Ataraxia, he has potions in his inventory, but he hasn't gone any lifesteal early on. Neither has Shaggyshenk, but he has the heal in his kit, so any poke that Ataraxia takes is critical.
Neith, actually, Shaggyshenk starting off with that level 1 beats. Very afraid of that level 5 Ares pull. It's something that you have to be aware of. We've seen multiple kills in the dual lane happen just from whatever lane hits 5 first, go in. Ares definitely has that potential. And getting those beats
I think a lot of it is the fact that Shaggyshenk wants to sit in that lane and farm. He is Neith. He has sustain in his kit. He has the powerful wave clear. And also the opponent doesn't have a lot of push in KanyeLife's Ares. So, he knows he's going to be controlling this lane, and he knows he's going to sit there past level 5. He wants to either finish his boots or really start up on a different item.
So Chaac doesn't have a way to stop the bludgeon, which is usually where people look to really outdo their enemy Bellona when it comes to the solo lane. He doesn't have a stun, he doesn't have a knock-up, so he can't really do that, but he just has straight clear. That said, Bellona will catch up at some point. When does this matchup turn?
I think once both can really just kind of clear the wave for free. For now, though, London Conspiracy taking a trip over here. And actually, there was no vision on Titan for this rotation. BroTuZ, however, has been pushed under his tower. He smells something fishy going on, and he's just going to back off. You can see this blue. This is going to be taken likely uncontested. You can see repikas sitting in the middle there, just focusing on the mid wave and the camps.
BroTuZ is here a little bit. Not sure if he knew if Cherio was here, and as soon as he sees the jungler joining up with the solo lane, slinks back a little bit. Blue is gone. That's going to matter for Bellona. Not as big a deal if Chaac were to lose it, but Chaac now has it, which, I mean, Chaac with a blue buff just doesn't use any mana.
No. I mean, his passive literally gives him free casts of an ability every time he auto-attacks or successfully auto-attacks 5 times. He will be fine. Bellona, likely to be fine as well. She's kind of been pushed out. She's actually a big deficit for her right now, sitting 600 gold behind.
She's just
this Chaac?
Yeah, exactly. The way Chaac clears is just so efficiently, especially when you factor in the blue stone. He's able to take down these waves so fast. So we just see Bellona sitting under her tower largely up until this point. She was just stuck.
Yeah, and out of mana, BroTuZ likely to be backing soon, grabbing that teleport. Can we actually take a look at Golden Hand? Because I don't think BroTuZ wants to back until he can efficiently finish his boots and buy teleport one. You can see 1,400 from him, so yeah, that should be just about enough.
Yeah, we'll sit and look. Chaac right here. 1, 2. The wave's gone. This little guy didn't get hit by the initial axe, so he takes a couple of basics. But that's how quickly Chaac can clear the wave. Just the 1-2 punch, and down goes the minion. So an early lead starting off in that solo lane for the Chaac. Check back in with our dual lane. Ataraxia playing this Hou Yi that recently got a buff. So if you're wondering why you're seeing so much Hou Yi, it's really about the change to Ricochet.
Now 10-second cooldown instead of 14-second. More options. repikas, though, has rotated to the left-hand side. EmilZy not pushing up for now. And I don't think repikas, okay, now he just walked over what he was fine for a while. EmilZy still might get caught out. Quick reaction time, gonna blink away as soon as repikas jumps in, but that is 150-second cooldown. EmilZy, there's a window of opportunity for Titan to abuse him.
Solo lane fight. Disarmed is Chaac, which is a big deal. A lot of Chaac's damage comes from basic attacks after his cooldowns are down. Back up. So
that was not an intelligent trade for BroTuZ.
Exactly.
At all.
Chaac has a heal, and BroTuZ doesn't.
Well, BroTuZ does heal, right? He was actually, that's the thing. He was auto-attacking to proc his heal, but he was still doing less damage and taking more damage than Zashu.
It's actually something that I like about that is, so BroTuZ was fighting in that situation and put a second point into the Scourge so that he would get a larger heal than he might not otherwise.
2 aggressive stances taken from both teams. You can see over the right-hand side, repikas looking to gank Chaac. Chaac has Steel Mail 1, though, so he might be tanking enough. Here it comes. Bludgeon over the top. A lot of damage. 50% damage reduction on there. But in the mid lane, Aero locks down PrettyPriMe Zashu. He's got Last Breath ticking. repikas finds it. For first blood did go to London Conspiracy, finding that pick in the mid lane. PrettyPriMe, he's tanky, but he has no escape.
They're very low, and here comes Cherio. He's going to take a hit from the tower. That's enough to deter the jungler into the solo lane. So no more kills. Great ricochet coming out of Ataraxia. And that right away. That's actually an interesting portion of the map here by this. It's, I don't want to say easy, but you can predict the movement on a flat wall, right, Kevin? When you're looking at this rounded wall of this rock, Ataraxia has done this many times.
With that aggression, though, and the pick on the right-hand side, or excuse me, mid lane, London Conspiracy rotated over because Zashu... while he died, he was actually able to get both players, repikas and BroTuZ, incredibly low, and a lot of Conspiracy rotates over, grabs their tower. Aero, his dash is down, but look at how strong that silence is. repikas was so scared, finds the ult, doesn't have ult, though. PrettyPriMe, no ult either, and they're just going to put out a lot of poke, but Zashu looks like he's just going to deter Titan from being too aggressive onto Aero.
Titan's fine, taking the mid-harpy is really not that big of a deal. The tower might be down, but it's still only 7 minutes down.
PrettyPriMe, coming off his death, picked up 2 wards, both a sentry and a normal ward. He does not want to get ganked again. You know, as tanky as Zhong is, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit too pushed up because you have no escape. There's only 1 stun in your kit, although you do have slows, so you do have to be pretty safe.
This is a big grouping here. 4 people from Titan on the right-hand side. Cherio has made his presence known. But as I said, 4 players here for Titan. The only one not here is Ataraxia, and he's moved over to the mid lane, so he can respond if needed.
How does KanyeLife hit 2 chains on 2 different moving targets and can't hit one in the mid lane when Aero is standing still for first blood?
I mean, it happens. Aggression out of repikas. Not going to make it. Taking a look here. Big grouping up in the mid lane.
Did you see that, though? Beads were actually forced on to Ataraxia just because of the silence. I mean, he's stuck in it. It does so much. The damage is a lot when it pops, but Ataraxia realistically could have walked out of there instantly. He was so scared that he was going to get jumped on and immediately blown up. He blew an 180-second Beads 1 cooldown just because of it.
Yeah, it's frightening.
Can we actually hover over Siphon Darkness on Nox? and just like so. It's a 2-second duration where all enemies in the area are silenced. They cannot use a single ability. They're not slowed or stuck in it, but if you are slowed in it, it is so deadly.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't respond. It creates such a big issue. Also, don't forget, I mean, it prevents you from using actives as well. Silence is everything. So
yes,
that's
except beads, right? Because that breaks easy.
Exactly.
But outside of that, yeah.
But that creates an interesting situation because now that the beads are down, it's a very big situation for EmilZy might be able to go in and initiate and just cause all sort of havoc because the hunter has no easy out.
Well, let's see if Cherio takes the trips over there. Bellona Conspiracy for sure has the timer on those beads, knows it's rank 1. That's actually one thing that's very important for teams to keep time of. Early on, later in the game when it's 90 seconds, you can kind of feel the 90 seconds, but early on, 180 seconds, that is such a wide window to gank players that we do see high-level teams take advantage and abuse that. I really would like to see Cherio take a trip over to this dual lane and look to shut him down, but you could just take a look at the inventory in Titan. They've done such a good job of controlling the vision and warding across the map. 3 players just had sentries, although Gold Fury was just counter-warded there, and the rest of the players all have normal wards. In the mid lane, though, KanyeLife looking for 2.
He's going to go ahead and grab 0. Beads used and no pulls. Out of Titan, that's going to be enough for them. No more aggression.
Beats 2, though, on Cherio, and just the ultimate from Nox being CC immune. One of the later updates to her, and both those players are going to be finishing some items. They already got the mid lane control. Not too worried about fighting right now.
Very smart decision coming out of Aero there. So the ultimate is pure damage, right? The utility on is relatively low. It's pure damage, and it's a shorter cooldown than the rank 1 beads. So being able to use the shorter cooldown next time around, the ult might be up, whereas a 3-minute or 180 seconds on the beads, a little bit of a different situation.
Okay, what I'm looking at, though, because I saw you start talking about Cherio, is this Winged Blade second item, repikas. I'm not going to find this one on Shaggyshenk in the meantime, but Winged Blade second item onto an Awilix. This is a little bit of a surprise. Now, Awilix, not that strong in auto attacks, although once she pops her ult, she actually does get a significant amount of physical power. But really, I guess it's about the setup in the pool and allowing the rest of your team to add. This is weird that it's not Jotun's Wrath. I mean, it's more utility, it's more defensive.
It's worth noting that the item does have cooldown reduction on it, so it's sort of like the hybrid Jotun's Wrath item, right? It's going to give you a lot. It's going to give you a decent amount of cooldown reduction, but still, PrettyPrime's not going to be able to annoy you as much with the card slow. And not for nothing, I mean, in the case that he gets marked and ulted by Ataraxia, he'll be able to walk out of there. So a little bit of slow protection on the side of that, also providing some cooldown reduction. It's not 25% like the Jotuns might give, but it's a step in the same direction. Also, it's only 2 items in, Kevin. We have yet to see what else he's going to build. So if you want to see more CDR, that's an interesting way to go about it.
Assuming, so in my mind, right, if you're playing a jungler and the first item, if you're playing a really high damage jungler like Awilix who does very well with cooldown reduction and pen like a Jotun's Wrath, and you're not building that first item, you're going straight into a Winged Blade, is that your team is looking to go late game. Right. That's what I'm assuming with Terios is he just wants to take his team to late game and just being a little bit tankier early, having a lot more utility and movement speed with this Winged Blade over the Jotuns is going to help get him there.
It's not a bad thought process. Nox is going to scale fantastically in the late game. As you saw, she's got huge scaling on her abilities, on her main damage abilities. So because of that, items, of course, as the game gets later and later, it tends to help her out a lot. Here comes KanyeLife making a look here onto the left lane. Does he have blink?
Yeah, Shaggyshenk's going to back out here. But, you know, KanyeLife, I made a joke because he missed the chain, but KanyeLife really, one of the premier supports in Europe, matching up against EmilZy, who, you know, probably one of the other premier supports that we talk about, probably the main player on this London Conspiracy roster. He's the team leader, he's the shot caller, and he actually releases videos quite often in late game situations. And you know, how important it is and how much respect that his team gives to him is so critical to London Conspiracy's success.
And it's fun to look at because he's such a young player. He's 14 or 15 years old, and having that sort of respect in the scene is interesting because it just goes to show you just how important he is to this team, that players will look past an age and just look at what he brings to the table, whereas KanyeLife does a very similar thing as far as just execution. rotation. Big cornerstone for this team. We'll take a look at what Kanye can do as the enemy aggresses onto the Gold Fury. He grabs 3 people with the ultimate. All 3 will avoid it with their own ults and CC immunity. Ataraxia is dropping the Suns, and repikas gets credit for the kill onto EmilZy. Very low is Aero. He's going to look to escape. Ataraxia jumps, but doesn't chase too far as he's being aggressed onto by Zashu, the solo laner who's made the rotation from the other side of the map. London Conspiracy now retreating. Titan will chase them just a little bit, but with all members of Titan here on the left-hand side of the map, no reason not to start the Gold Fury.
I'll break that down in a second. Gold Fury being started up here, and it looks like London Conspiracy, they don't want to give it up for free. Cheerio taking so much poke. He jumps out. The second he's out, this is so risky for Zashu to try and get in. He does have his ult, however. Gold Fury, it's already down. Titan grabs it. Doesn't look like London Conspiracy going to be dropping any more kills, but KanyeLife, that play was beyond phenomenal. A lot of times you'll see Ares blink in, right? Just looking to grab beads and ultimates, very powerful early when players, haven't ranked those up as much. Finds 3, but for me, it was immediately beating after it was done. He became CC immune and walked out because he actually was, it looked like under 15% after Geb had ulted, and likely London Conspiracy would have turned on him and blown him up. Instead, he's able to walk out for free. The rest of the Titan squad is able to lock down EmilZy and then slowly win the fight from there just for numbers. From numbers.
Exactly. We don't really get to see beads a lot on these Guardians, and Ares, one of the downsides to him is that he's so easily, when he goes up in the ultimate, it's just sort of standard to turn onto him and kill him, right? So the beads, very important play, and it was important that he did what he did when he did it. Goes in and ults because, as you said, he got all the beads, but more importantly, he got Cataclysm off of the board. EmilZy didn't want to be pulled, so he drops Cataclysm, which means the disruption on London Conspiracy largely up.
Beads. repikas going to immune out that ult, the Gravity Surge, and you can actually see Cheerio lit up there. That's the extra power that you get from that Awilix ult, which actually does a lot of damage. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's why he didn't go Yoans, because he gets so much power from his ultimate, and Cheerio not really planning on fighting unless it's to combo with EmilZy.
EmilZy from the backside decides better of it. Probably had a good look into that situation in the long lane. repikas a couple of steps behind.
EmilZy can take a good amount of poke. One chain. Doesn't find the second one, and EmilZy, he popped that early. He's in trouble. Suns are coming down. EmilZy locked, and just a little bit of a misplay from him popping that ultimate early. I'm assuming he was expecting Shaggyshenk to try and clean up there, but not in time.
Ataraxia doing fantastic. 1-0-1 on the Hunter. Built the Soul Eater. It's going into attack speed now.
Likely to be the same thing we're seeing coming up from Shaggyshenk, just that Ickful. You really need to use it properly to box the other Hunter, but he's also got an attack speed boot, so a very high amount of attack speed coming out. He won't cap with this, but it won't be the slowest.
So normally we see Warrior Tabby, the power boots. That's generally where we see a lot of Hunters go. Hou-Yi, though, has a very low base attack speed. Is
lowest of all Hunters, actually.
Exactly. So is the attack speed boots to counteract that?
More than likely. Sometimes players just kind of feel better when they use attack speed boots.
Sure.
I actually don't know the numbers on whether it's higher DPS. It's like a 2% difference, though, between power.
It's generally
but a lot of it, too, is that ricochet is a large amount of Hou-Yi's damage, and that is going to be significantly reduced without that 40 power from the boots.
That's what I'm
saying. Ataraxia will be swinging more often and overall doing more damage with his auto attacks. The ricochet will be significantly weaker.
So it's more of so basically what we're seeing out of Ataraxia is a desire for sustained damage as opposed to burst on that, either the ricochet or the ultimate. PrettyPriMe here, going to get knocked up and pulled by the Awilix.
I'm surprised he did that one.
A second too late. Ultimate used to chase off London Conspiracy, not able to follow up onto PrettyPriMe. And that right there, that's what we were talking about. He got pulled, and a lot of damage went out as far as abilities are concerned, but PrettyPriMe stays at 75% HP. Zhong very, very tanky by default, and building into that Warlock Sash already. A bunch of stacks online. Pull in the middle lane. KanyeLife going to get nobody, but EmilZy already down to half HP. Here comes the Roma Invicta over the top. EmilZy's going to roll out on the bottom of your screen.
That interrupt.
Jumped in front by repikas. EmilZy's going nowhere.
Teleport in by Zashu, but BroTuZ coming up big. Actually, in the left hand, he was actually on the left side of the map there, just allowing Zashu to split push, and that's what you need to do. If you're going to rotate as a solo laner, and the other solo laner is going to split push, you got to force the fight. Great job by Titan as a whole, and BroTuZ being there, making that happen. Zashu was just not there in time.
I love, so right here, Ataraxia, he drops the Suns down, allowing his team to take out the tower because you can't stand in that ultimate. Complete zoning. So from the wrong perspective, it might look like Ataraxia just missed, but he hit exactly what he wanted to. Kevin, he hit the area.
Ataraxia missed. We don't give him any. we don't give Nate credit. He's done.
It was about area denial. Drop the Suns on the tower. If you want to defend this tower, you're going to get hit by the entirety of my ultimate. So London Conspiracy's forced off of it. Free tower. Titan gets it.
Titan now 3,000 in the lead with that mid tower take, and they also grabbed the first Gold Fury of the game. 4-1 in kills, so not a lot on the board in that regards, but it's been a lot of objective control and positioning for both teams.
This has been a very tactical game.
Titan has really been focusing on shutting down EmilZy. He's 0-3-1, and it's really been the Kanye show who has timed his abilities, most notably No Escape, his ultimate, on when to abuse EmilZy. And the fact that EmilZy has not gone into beads, he's went the Bleak, he's went the Heavenly, he's going to continuously be open for these ganks. Shaggyshenk in a little bit of trouble here, likely to be fine.
Yeah.
Actually charging his ult. repikas could be in trouble, but EmilZy, he pushes him away. Cataclysm not in place. Great beats by Repi to get out of that one.
I love the little jump after the fact. Just, I heard him safe. But yeah, so swift beads allows repikas to get out of there. And important, the stun wouldn't have happened because of the beads. But don't forget, Cataclysm does percent-based damage. It wouldn't have killed repikas, but would have put him in a bad situation. Zigzag gets him completely out of there. No damage after the Death Bane. So.
Gold Fury just spawning repikas coming off of death. At the mid tower, and it seems like Titan want to fight, but actually no, KanyeLife is the ult, and EmilZy has no Cataclysm. That is Kanye's target. You can actually look for him to prioritize that out, but he's silenced out. There's the beats. He's gonna find a 3-man pool here. Zashu, his ult is down too. This is bad for LC.
Double pull into the Suns. repikas gets credit for 1. PrettyPriMe gets credit for 2. Ataraxia is going to clean up aero. There's 2 people alive, but they're disarmed. Titan not going to fight underneath the tower, but we saw this just 10 minutes ago, Kevin. I mean, a fight goes poorly for London Conspiracy, and then Titan just defaults.
Oh, they're looking at Cheerio too. Last breath just came up. There's the backflip. Cheerio gonna fall. PrettyPriMe finds that kill. Shaggyshenk slowed. They actually could chase him, and BroTuZ is one more tick. PrettyPriMe finds that one. Titan, they actually haven't started Gold Fury yet, but you can see Ataraxia rotating in. Everyone dead on London Conspiracy. This is going to be free. Meanwhile, the rest of the Titan team, they're going to take the Tier 1 tower. I love this decision to split up their forces and get as much as they possibly can. KanyeLife, though, for me, he has been player of the game. 0-0-6. His no escapes have been on point. I was so surprised he held no escape for that long in that last engagement. He actually waited for Zashu to ult, then he had no way to escape. They locked down those 3 key targets, and Titan, they are looking like the 4th place, the top 4 team we expect them to be.
What I liked a lot about out of that situation coming out from KanyeLife was how different it was from his previous engagements. Earlier on, we were praising him for stripping beads, right? You being the initial initiator, going in first and starting the fight, stripping beads and ultimates, and then the follow-up happened, right? This time around, he calls the audible and understands, all right, in the moment, I don't need to initiate. I can actually get a pull off of my ultimate, waits a second, pulls 2 people into Ataraxia's ultimate. I mean, with that much damage going on, you're literally no escape.
He also beads out Nox's silence, quickly recognizing that London Conspiracy were so out of position that he could find those multiple targets. Just good decision all around by him and Titan, and extending their gold lead now to, it looks like, about 6,000. Experience seems pretty even. Outside, I would say, the jungle, where we see repikas 3 levels above Cheerio.
Cheerio just has not been able to really find much of anything here. A couple of times he's gotten decent pulls. They've been beads. And then the one time we did see a successful pull from the ultimate, it was on PrettyPriMe, who was already halfway done stacking his Warlock Sash. It really wasn't going to be in a great situation for him. So Cheerio unable to really get lifted here as Ataraxia makes his way to the right lane. So Titan picks up the Tier 1 tower in the left. And decides to switch over here to the right-hand side, putting their Bellona into the long lane.
Titan's so good at controlling objectives this game so far.
Oh, yeah.
The last time these teams faced off, we said it was traded out 1-for-1, but it was a similar situation where Titan were leading early by a significant amount. I believe it was actually 6,000 or 7,000,
yes.
and then Titan ended up throwing the game.
It was all over a fire giant fight.
Yeah, it was over a fire giant fight. Positioning-wise, we could see the same thing, but four-man pull-in by Kanye isn't able to lock down anyone.
Everybody's going to go ahead and avoid it. Sun's dropped onto the tower. London Conspiracy retreat just a little bit, not as big as the last time in the middle lane. Neith going to be intercepted by Ataraxia, and here comes the retreat from London Conspiracy as there's one member. It's just BroTuZ here in the front line, tearing apart what LC can do. The rest of Titan will join up as the tower is going to fall. Tier 2 tower on the side of the solo lane falls. Titan goes collect that gold, and they're going to collect EmilZy's life as well. 10-2 read the kills as we are halfway through the 24th minute, and the gold differential is at 8,100 gold on the side of Titan.
10-2 kills. 5 of those are on EmilZy, and this isn't necessarily EmilZy's fault outside of maybe he should have gone beads instead of either the blink or the heavenly. I'd say instead of the heavenly, but once you that's the thing about actives. That's the thing about actives. Sometimes you get abused and you don't realize it until you've already bought it. The second he bought Sprint 1 or Heavenly, he was locked out of those beads.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it was Titan's game plan to really shut him down early on or maybe look for a different kind of strategy, but the second they were able to get one kill and EmilZy did not have an active slot open to find beads, that was their game plan, and they have done a fantastic job of capitalizing on it. EmilZy about to walk into his 6th death, unaware that Titan had barely started the fire giant, the rest of his team not in place, as BroTuZ alone is going to zone out 2 people.
Yeah, BroTuZ has been doing it, really just standing out in front and able to deal with the threats that are coming from a distance. Titan, they're going to go ahead and pick up this fire giant largely for free. They will trade a tier 2 tower for it. Over there in the dual lane, we see not Ataraxia, but Shaggyshenk, the Neith, just barking down the tower, split pushing, no problem. BroTuZ will head over, make sure no Phoenix will be taken down, but Titan grabs the fire giant, heads to the mid lane.
So I wonder if that Gold Fury timing really threw off London Conspiracy, because there was actually 3 members rotating to that while Titan was doing fire giant, and I mentioned it in the cast, right? After they won that last engagement at Gold Fury, Titan that is, they didn't start up the Gold Fury for quite some time. And London Conspiracy didn't have vision, and I think that they thought that 5-minute marker was right there, but Titan, they waited a little bit for Ataraxia to rotate in before doing it. Could have thrown their timing off, not entirely sure. Maybe they just wanted vision on it. We'll see.
Titan's really pulling ahead right here. Shaggyshenk, I'm going to just get out of there. He understands that there's an entire team with the fire giant buff around their waist. 11 kills on the side of Titan, 10 of which repikas have been involved in. This Serqet has been everywhere on the map, and KanyeLife is who we're looking at directly for a lot of these, starting these fights and these engagements, but repikas, huge part of what Titan has been able to do this game.
I mean, KanyeLife's the setup, and repikas is the execution of KanyeLife's setup, and he's done a phenomenal
job. Literal execution.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have an execute in his kit.
All right,
he has true damage. Serqet has true damage. If it was Thanatos or Alquang, I would give that one to you.
That'd be the triple on top.
Oh, man, please no. Gold Fury going to be started up and taken uncontested by Titan. They've got their fire giant. You can see Cherio split pushing over on the right-hand side, just trying to get a little bit of farm and catch up to repikas in levels.
Now, I like the small things. I like the small things that really will change Shaggyshenk poking repikas out just a little bit. That's just for fun.
That's just a BM like you're not back in.
Just a little bit of fun. But did you notice that when Titan goes ahead and pulls the Gold Fury, a perfect triple bounce out of the Ho Yi?
Stop giving Ataraxia credit. We discussed it. We're not going to give him anything.
Ho Yi is a high execution god, to say the very least, right? When it comes to those ricochets, it's difficult to really nail, and especially in these odd situations off that curvature in the long lane that we're looking at and the cove that Gold Fury's in. Ho Yi has just sort of risen to prominence, and it's exciting to see the amount of work that that Ataraxia has put in, either just in case for this god to come out or just recently. So I like to see these little small things, especially on a god that's just really risen to the stage.
And Ataraxia at 3-0-3 has played a very respectable game. You even saw his ult placement, on the tower, just small little things. I'm sure that was a team call, but at the same time, just a great all-around Hu-Yi play, and we really only just saw this god come back into prominence. And Ataraxia may not have a lot of practice on. He was out of the hunter role for, I believe, 3 months, if not 4 months.
I mean, when he started in the solo lane, it was just hunters.
Yeah, he was playing hunters
lane.
for like 4 or 5 weeks straight. I forgot about that. The Apollos and the Neiths.
London Conspiracy, they're largely set up to defend the middle Phoenix, but Titan going to go ahead down the left lane. KanyeLife.
But they're splitting the forces. Everyone was so scared. EmilZy blinking into the backline. repikas forced out immediately, but Titan, they can just disengage this, and now that teamfight ultimate, it's down.
There's the blink in coming out of KanyeLife. 3 people going to be grabbed. 1 will be pulled into the Suns. Down comes the damage. Ataraxia picks up the 12th kill for his squad. PrettyPriMe will add to that himself, as will Ataraxia. repikas picks up 1. Titan sharing the wealth. Almost everybody's got a kill this engagement. Ataraxia keeps his opponent in the well while the rest of the team takes care of the Titan. This Titan will fall, and Titan takes game 1 against London Conspiracy.
This was a phenomenally played game from Titan. London Conspiracy always just seemed kind of a half a step behind, and it was the abuse EmilZy was that support matchup. And once they got him the first few times, the important thing was that EmilZy got so far behind that they were repeatedly forcing out Cataclysm early before the fights broke out. The second the fight disengaged, KanyeLife would then re-engage and look to pull EmilZy. Titan would focus him down. You could actually just see it right there in that last engagement on the Phoenix. EmilZy blinks in, nothing comes from the fight, and then KanyeLife's, I got you, man. You're done.
I mean, just think of everything that Geb brings to the table here. Not only does he have a fantastic initiate, not only does he have a fantastic teammate save with the Geb shield, but he also has a knock-up, which is going to enable Cherio to do work. So, of course, as soon as there's no beads, that is the target the Titan wants to take care of. He wasn't the first blood. We'll take a look at a different kill. He was many other kills. But here we are, the very beginning of the fight. Here's Nox making moves.
Oh, that was just a perfect combo to find PrettyPriMe there and lock him down.
Yeah, Nox just absolutely.
That was like a max range knock. It was a 3-man perfect combo. It was like a max range knock up into the gravity surge, which I'm pretty sure was close to max range, and then immediately Aero cleans it up.
Yeah, so that's really where we saw everything start. Unfortunately for London Conspiracy, did not continue to go that way, largely off of the back of the jungler for Titan. repikas really absolutely killing it. We talked about the 1-2 punch. KanyeLife really starting things, and repikas finishing them up. Yeah, you look here, 5, 1, and 9 on the side of the jungler. So 14 kills repikas was a part of, and there was a large amount on the side of the team. So big kill participation coming out from Repi, and a lot of he was just all over the map, able to help every single lane that needed it.
And yeah, just everywhere, kind of just following off of the setup. A great play from him, and he also locked down Zashu to get BroTuZ ahead.
Yes.
And then we saw there was 3 really big fights. The Gold Fury, the Fire Giant pick on EmilZy, and then I'd say another one was actually when BroTuZ rotated and he came in from the left side of the map onto that mid tower, and he's kind of like, surprise, I'm here, and everyone's like, Zashu, where are you?
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough for a lot of Conspiracy, and because of that, we'll see a lot of smiling Titan faces on our top performers out of Alpha Draft. Again, Daily Fantasy, you guys can sign up on alphadraft.com. Pick your players for tomorrow and see if you guys wind up on top. And taking a look right here, everybody on the side of Titan going to be our top performers. So
I hope PrettyPriMe has his hair back for Super Regionals.
You do?
I'll be disappointed if not. I mean, his hair is amazing.
It is. I don't think we've seen a LAN yet with PrettyPriMe with his hair.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure. Either way, Titan able to win with or without it. They win pretty extravagantly. It was interesting. I thought London Conspiracy, they had a great start, and I thought that Zashu would have been able to recover out of that solo lane, but unable to really do it.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say Zashu fell behind. I think it was just Titan kind of winning a numbers game.
Exactly.
Where they were locking down EmilZy 6 or 7 times by the end of the game, and then kind of just forcing, we have 5 and you have 4, and our 5 are doing a little bit more each because, we've got the 1 or 2 levels or the extra half an item or the extra active, and just great play all around from Titan.
Yeah, for me, it was just, as I said, I mean, it was large team games, not exactly all Chaac's fault, but it was interesting to see how Chaac started that game with a 600 to 700 gold.
Oh, he was
lead
destroying BroTuZ and controlling the lane.
That's the nature of I'm Chaac, axe slurp. Like, I'm going to clear the way very easily and put the Bellona behind a little bit. But I mean, it was just interesting how he could not capitalize. Might see a little bit of a change here as we go into the picks and bans. I think that the Chaac